So that out of the way, that brings us to the question of the week. And I hope you like onions, Greg, because this week's question of the week has a lot of layers we got to peel back. All right.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Hopefully it doesn't make you cry. So this week's question actually came in. Oh, I'm trying to move my mouse. There we go. Came in a little while ago via the mailbag email address. So if you've been wanting to get on this segment, mailbag@frequentmiler.com. Hello, send it in and we will eventually look through and get your question featured because Vince asks this question. He's hoping you could help with some recent card shuffling he's doing. So like I said, there's a couple of layers to peel back here. So because of annual fee costs and the ability to replicate benefits with other cards, he recently dumped his Chase Sapphire Reserve. So he recently got rid of the Sapphire Reserve. And in its place, here's his strategy so far. He upgraded the Ink Business Cash to an Ink Business Preferred. That way he could still transfer his Chase points to partners and still earn 3x on travel with a lower net annual fee, because that card only has a $95 annual fee, right? So that was his solution for that. Still has 3x dining because he's got a Chase Freedom Unlimited. So that takes care of the Sapphire Reserve's 3x dining. He has kept the Chase Ritz card for primary CDW coverage, like rental car coverage, travel protection, free authorized users, and the good priority pass that's available to the authorized users, which is important for him because he has a family of 5, a couple of kids in college, blah, blah, blah. So he's got that. And he says that he feels like it's easier to keep that annual fee to a net zero, although I don't really know why. So he says the only benefit he loses with this strategy for the Ink Business Preferred, 3x on dining with the Freedom Unlimited, and the ancillary benefits on the Ritz. The only benefit he loses is the ability to cash out or use Chase Travel Portal at 1.5 cents each.
Sure.
So first, I think he wants to kind of know about that strategy, but we got to talk about the last piece. I told you there's a lot of layers here, Craig. There's a lot of layers to peel back. There's one more layer to add here.
All right. You don't have me crying yet, but we'll see.
He was instantly approved for the Capital One Venture X. And so the Venture X replaces most of the Ritz benefits. Unclear, he says, on the travel protections, but actually I think the travel protections are pretty comparable. In addition, he says with Marriott blowing up that 50K cert on the Ritz card might be less valuable, he thinks. That's a debatable point, I think. But would you agree now? So first of all, was his strategy good on the Chase side? And second of all, is it time to dump the Ritz because he's got the Venture X to replace a bunch of the Ritz benefits? Or would you be fearful that Capital One is going to thin out the benefits over time on the Venture X?
So on to the first question, I think that was a masterful play to reduce annual fees. The Ritz card, as he said, it duplicates the travel protections that the Sapphire Reserve has that I love, definitely best in class. I think they're significantly better than Capital One's if you look at it sort of line by line.
Okay.
So I think that totally makes a lot of sense. I think he's been listening to the show, doing a really good job there, or reading the blog. With whether or not to ditch the Ritz card for the Venture X. I mean, they both have the Priority Pass membership, which is really good. The Venture X has the addition of getting you into Capital One lounges. Right now, there's only one. As they open more and more, that'll become more important. So what? Not as good of travel protectors. I mean, it definitely. So the Venture X has an easier justification, right, for paying the annual fee, right? So
Agreed.
It's sort of a no-brainer, I think. $395 a year, but you get back, you get to spend $300 through their travel portal and get that back. So $300 back just by using their travel portal, which, I don't usually like to use travel portals, but as you showed in your posts, they seem to be pretty good. And you get 10,000 points just automatically each year that you renew. So combined, that's arguably more than $395 in value without really doing much of anything to earn it back. Ritz card, meanwhile, you have to find a good use for that 50K cert. You have to find good ways to use the $300 in incidental airline fee credits each year. It can way more than, pay itself back, but it's not automatic. It's not as easy as
Right.
the Venture X. So I definitely see the interest in doing that.
So what would you do? I mean, are you going to dump your Ritz card? You've got a Ritz card. You've got now the Venture X in the household. You're going to dump your Ritz card?
Right. No, I'm not going to dump my Ritz card. I'm willing to take on the work of using up the $300 in airline incidental fees. And I'm not thinking that those 50K certs are going to be less valuable than before. In fact, I think in many ways they're going to be more valuable. I think that before they were very, very awkward. I showed this in some analyses I did where the most expensive properties that you could use a 50K cert for were actually priced at 40K, not 50K. And that's because 40K was the peak pricing for Category 5 hotels, and
Right.
50K was standard pricing for Category 6 or off peak for Category 7. And so those are hotels that are not cash wise peak price when you want to stay. So the hotels I really want to stay at were more than 50K. And now that we'll have the ability to add up to 15,000 points to our certs to book, properties, and with Marriott going sort of dynamic on us, I think we're often going to see hotels in the 50K to 65K range that we really want to stay at, and you'll get full value for your cert instead of getting 40K value, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So, So I actually think, in a way, the value is going up for the Ritz card because it comes with that 50K cert, not down. I'm happy to keep it.
Yeah. I looked at this and I thought to myself, that wouldn't be an either or for me. I felt the same way because the Venture X to me has no bearing on whatever else is in your wallet, because like Greg explained there, it's worth more than $395 a year to me. If you value miles, like transferable points, because remember the 10,000 miles you get every year at anniversary could be used at 1 cent each for $100 towards travel if you redeem as with the purchase eraser. But if you value transferable points at more than a penny each, and I think most of us do, let's say you value them at 1.3 cents each, then you're looking at $130 in value there, plus the $300 reimbursement through the portal. I mean, to me, that's a money maker. That's a pause, because I always spend more than $300 a year on travel, and I don't have to work too hard to find enough situations where it's going to be like a one night stay at a Residence Inn, and it doesn't matter where I've booked it through or whether I get elite credit. And I show the prices are good. So I'm going to have no trouble getting full value out of that card year after year. So that doesn't have any bearing to me on anything else in my wallet. In terms of I'm not going to drop the Venture X anyway. I'm going to keep that no matter what. So then it just becomes whether or not you want to spend the money on the Ritz card for whatever small incremental benefits there are. But yeah, I think that 50K cert, I think it'll probably be hard to get less than $200 in value unless you're going to use it for like a really cheap hotel. Like if you're going to stay any place reasonably nice, it'll be hard to get less than $200 in value out of that. So if you get close to 300 out of the annual airline incidental credits there, then the card is pretty close to net free before you consider the fact that you are also going to get other stuff. So yeah, I would keep both of them, Vince, unless you're just looking at it and saying, man, this is kind of crazy. I'm paying $800 and change in annual fees, and that amount out is too much. I get that. So if that's the issue, then I would have a hard time dropping the Capital One Venture X. So I guess you would have to drop the Ritz. The other thing you could do, though, like you mentioned in the question, Vince, you said, should I drop this, or are you worried that Capital One is going to peel back benefits later on? I wouldn't worry about that, because you would just downgrade your Ritz card to one of the other Marriott cards. If you don't want to pay an annual fee, there's a no annual fee Marriott card. So just downgrade to that. And then if Capital One nerfs the Venture X later on, just upgrade your no fee Marriott card back to the Ritz card again. So as long as that remains an option, which it has so far, course, it could change at some point, but I wouldn't probably make my other decisions based on the fact that that might change someday. Go ahead and downgrade it to the no fee Marriott card if you feel like there's too much overlap and you just don't want to pay the annual fee.
That's a great answer.